Our average last day of frost has come and gone. We're going to start the process of transplanting these seedlings into our Mittleider soil beds. We have 2 soil beds ready. These are the seedlings you saw me transplant last week. The same procedure for moving a seedling to a bigger container we're going to use in the garden. Moisten the soil in your seedling trays. We're going to need pruners, and the sheet on the ground there is the garden planting detail sheet. It's going to give me my spacing requirements and the number of rows for the different variety of seedlings that are going into the garden today. Let's get started. We've got this row here ready to go, and another one over here under the structure for the crops that we're growing vertically. Both of these beds already have the Mittleider pre-plant in them. They are ready to go. All we need to do is figure out the plant variety and the spacing requirements for them and start getting them into the garden. Your first seedling is going to start right here at the end, and when we do this, we always do it from across the soil bed. So I will put my seedlings in all on this side. I will swap into the other aisle, and then I'll put my seedlings here. These seedlings need to go up right against that ridge. From here to here is 12 inches. Jim showed you how to do that in his video. I have used my garden planting detail sheet. I know that these are planted in 2 rows with 6 inches of spacing. That garden planting detail sheet is invaluable. It is in the back of your Mittleider gardening course book, or you can get it in the file section of the Mittleider Facebook group. Again, I will put a link in the description for you if you're not already a member. I have already pre-pruned these guys before I brought them over here. They're ready to go. Make sure that the crown of the plant is not below the soil. Please forgive the shadows. I know it's making this a little difficult to see. I've already shown you the transplanting process last week. Same rules apply, so I think we'll be all right. I'm doing this at the end of the day. That's why I have all this shade. The sun is setting. I prefer to do all of my transplanting either at the end of the day or on a cloudy day. We have got rain moving in tomorrow, and I want to get these into the soil before it gets here. We don't do any nutrients beyond the pre-plant that's already in the bed. The first application of the weekly feed starts 3 days after the transplant. Today is Tuesday. My first weekly feed for my soil bed is going to be on Friday. My intent is, before Friday, I'm going to show you how I prefer to mix up my weekly feed. I do it a little bit different than what the instructions tell us to do. As you're doing your transplanting, there's a tendency to pull the soil from the ridge over to the other side, and oftentimes I will find that I have a low spot in the middle and there's a high spot on each of the ridges. When you're done, or as you're going, if you can remember to do this, make sure that you level the bed back out. Otherwise, all of your water, all of your nutrients will run away from the root of your seedlings. Take just a moment and level that bed back out when you're done. All of our transplanting is done. We have 28 feet of kale, cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower in here. We have 2 steps left, adding the nitrogen and then watering everything in. The nitrogen that you apply at the time of transplant is put down at 1/4, 0.25 of an ounce per linear foot. I have 28 feet of vegetables here, so we're going to use 7 ounces of nitrogen. My preferred nitrogen for doing transplanting is a calcium nitrate. This 5-pound bag has lasted me several years. The only time I use it is for transplanting. Moisten the soil in your seedling trays before you start the transplanting process into your garden. Make sure your spacing is proper in accordance with the garden planting detail sheet. Apply nitrogen at 1/4 of an ounce per linear foot. Scratch it into the soil and water everything in well. If you have any questions, let us know. Thank you for watching, and happy gardening.